Boy, the psychology of a texter versus a caller. Which one are you? Put in the comment section below. Tony's topics. Hey, I am somebody that I'm of a certain age, and I used to use the old rotary phone. You know what I'm talking about? The rotary phone. And now I just prefer texting. I don't know about you, but what do you like to use? Text or phone call? Who are you? I like texting. Now, both have their pros and cons. And for me, I feel like, especially if I'm making a plan with somebody, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's for business or leisure. If I always say if it's going to involve a number, like a time, date, location, I'm texting because undoubtedly, you know what happens, right? No, you said 7. I said 6. No, you didn't say. I said no. You said no, 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 no. I didn't say that. No, you did say it. I didn't say it. See, I love text because it's like, shut up. It says it right here. Booyaka. I win, you lose, you can apologize. So I love text for that reason. It removes all doubt. We have record of what you said and what I said, or maybe I'm wrong. I apologize. That's the big upside of texting. It's timestamp. It's a receipt. You don't get that with a phone call. And I think that the other thing with texting is you can share photos and videos, and you can control the conversation, kind of like using a stick shift versus an automatic. You can really fine tune that driving experience, and you can fine tune the communication experience in a binary way. Now, the downside of texting, though, right, is it's cold, it's impersonal. It's very matter of fact, very dry. It doesn't lend way to subtlety. So if you're someone like me who's sarcastic and you're making a little joke, it's not going to really pick up that well on text. Although you can, with text, forward videos and photos that are funny, which you can't do with a phone call. But just communication only, person to person. That's the downside of texting. Doesn't lend way to subtlety, which the voice, a phone call does. Phone calls are great. Like, I'm on the dating scene now. So when I want to initially, after texting or messaging a woman, then the next step is a phone call. The phone call is great because you can hear the different tones and the different pauses, and you can get the subtleties, if they're being sarcastic or funny or dry or serious. So phone calls are much, much better than texting for the subtleties of life, to really kind of fine tune that experience that the texting doesn't give you, hearing somebody breathing, if they're nervous or scared or angry or mad or happy, hearing a laugh, So now the real money shot, I guess, would be, right, is the video call. Now, so that's good. But it's not that video call or phone call or texting is good or bad. They both are tools in a tool chest. It's not that a boat is better than a plane, is better than a car. They're all different, and they do the same thing in the sense of they transport. In this case, we're talking about communication, but they do it in different mannerisms, different ways. So it's not better or worse. It's just different. And what do you prefer for that time in that moment? So I think the burden of synchronous, it's called, calling is synchronous, meaning both parties must be present and engaged at the same exact time. So you're invested in this, you know what I'm saying? Where texting is not really that, it's less kind of intrusive, the loss of nonverbal cues, about 70 to 90% of communication is nonverbal in a text, right? So when we text, we lose all that data. We have other data, but we lose the data of subtlety. So this often leads to negative bias, it's called. So we assume, like, if someone texts fine, right? Like, okay, fine, I'm going to go, fine. Now, that might be perceived differently or incorrectly. It might be perceived as aggressive or sarcastic, So you can discuss, about emojis, that kind of helps soften that up a little bit. But so it's kind of like the editing safety net. So a phone call is like a live performance. When you say something, you can't take it back. You know what I mean? Where texting provides a little bit of a buffer zone. You can, literally kind of edit, slow it down, really curate what you want to say to somebody. But it also makes interactions feel more curated and less authentic and spontaneous, like a conversation would. So, and then of course you have the the dopamine loop, right, of notifications. Texting triggers the brain in its reward systems differently than a call. So the three dots, it's like, oh my God, something's coming, right? So typically indicate a ping or a reply, creating a micro dose of dopamine, literally. So you can explore how that can be negative or positive there. So, it can be good and bad. Although you can get a dopamine dump too from a phone call, right? I mean, you hear the person's voice, they sound closer. And then you have control versus intimacy. So phone calls are inherently more intimate, as I stipulated before, because they require vulnerability, right? To be vulnerable. And you might stumble over your words, have an awkward silence. Texting offers total control. You don't have that. So people often choose texting not because it's better necessarily, but it's quote unquote safer, and I've become, more of a texter myself over these years. And then last but not least, well, you tell me, what do you think so far? Put it in the comment section below. Like and subscribe. Tony's Topic. So the decision fatigue factor. So for many, on a phone call represents the unknown commitment. How long will this take? Hey, how do I get off this phone call? Right? That's what I hate too, especially like on when you first meet somebody and you're like, I gotta go now. Texting. You can return that text 3 hours later if you want. And you're still considered okay, not being rude. But yeah, psychologically, we often choose the path of least resistance. So I think we're probably doing more texting as a society nowadays than actual phone calls. But I don't know. What do you guys think? There's a generation gap too, right? Us old farts, I would say maybe 45 and up probably do more phone calls, generally speaking. I'm the exception. I really like texting, but it also has made me feel detached and lonely oftentimes too. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Where do you guys stand on this? Like and subscribe. Tony's Topics. Hey, I'm going to hit the button. Text us out of here. 54321. Thanks, everybody. Bye.